The certified envelope arrived on a Tuesday that smelled like rain and wet pine needles. Jake Harlan, 29, unemployed, and still sleeping on his cousin's couch in Atlanta, stared at the return address. Whitaker, Lowe and Sons, attorneys at law, Willow Creek, Georgia. He almost tossed it with the junk mail. Instead, he ripped it open over the sink. Inside was a single sheet of thick cream paper. Dear Mr. Jacob Harlan, following the death of your great-uncle, Mr. Elias Harlan, who passed without issue or spouse, you are the sole remaining heir to the Harlan family holdings. These consist of 999 contiguous acres in Willow Creek, currently improved with the master planned community known as Serenity Oaks. Phases Wipe 4, together with all mineral, timber, and air rights. The land is unencumbered except for certain recorded covenants enforced by the Serenity Oaks Homeowners Association. Title transfers immediately upon your signature. Congratulations on your inheritance. Jake read it 3 times. Then he Googled Serenity Oaks. Drone photos showed manicured cul-de-sacs, identical brick facades, a clubhouse with a resort pool, and 312 homes glowing like perfect teeth in the Georgia sun. Zillow said the average house sold for $689,000. Quick math made his vision blur. 312 homes times even half that price. He owned the dirt under a $250 million neighborhood. He called the law firm. A board paralegal confirmed everything. Your uncle never sold an inch, she said. He just leased the ground long-term, 99 years, signed in 1987. That lease expired last month. He knew it was coming. Guess he wanted to die owning every grain of sand. Those people put their swing sets on. Jake booked the cheapest flight south. While the plane descended over Atlanta, he pulled up the recorded plat. One giant rectangle, 999 acres. Serenity Oaks sat dead center like a postage stamp on a football field. The rest was pine forest and swamp, and every blade of grass under those McMansions now belonged to him. He rented a beat-up Silverado at the airport and drove north until the GPS said, "Welcome to Serenity Oaks, a covenant-protected community." White vinyl fences, identical mailboxes, and a gatehouse manned by a retiree in a polo shirt. Jake rolled down the window. "Name?" the guard asked. "Harlan," Jake said, tasting the word. "Jacob Harlan. I own this place." The guard chuckled like it was a joke. Jake didn't. Jake parked the rattling Silverado at the curb in front of the biggest house on Legacy Boulevard, a cream-colored monstrosity with 4 columns and a 3-car garage. A blonde woman in yoga pants power-walked over before he even killed the engine. "Excuse me," she called, voice sharp enough to cut glass. "You can't park there. That's Dr. Phillips' spot." A dozen neighbors materialized like they'd been waiting behind hydrangeas. Golf carts hummed. Someone already had a phone out recording. Jake stepped onto the asphalt. "Actually, ma'am, this is my curb. My street, my everything." The blonde, Karen Whitmore, HOA president, he'd later learn, folded her arms. "Sir, this is a private community. Visitors must be announced." Jake pulled the folded inheritance letter from his back pocket and held it up like a warrant. "I'm not a visitor. I'm the landlord. As of 30 days ago, your ground lease expired. I now own the 999 acres you're all squatting on." Silence. A sprinkler clicked somewhere. Then laughter, nervous at first, then loud. Karen smiled the way people do when they think you're insane. "That's adorable. The HOA owns the common areas and enforces the covenants. You can't just—" "Wrong," Jake said. "You own your houses. I own the dirt. Your declarations are attached to a lease that died with my uncle. I checked the registry this morning. No renewal was ever filed." A man in a Patagonia vest pushed forward. "This is harassment. We'll have you removed." Jake pointed past the gates to the endless pines. "See those woods? That's the other 900 acres. Tomorrow at dawn, survey crews and bulldozers roll in to clear Phase 5. Right up to your property lines. You'll wake up to diesel and flying splinters." Karen went pale. "You can't develop here. We have architectural controls." "Not on my land, you don't." Jake climbed back into the truck. "Y'all have a blessed day." He reversed slowly, letting them absorb the Georgia dust cloud. In the rear view, he saw phones rising like periscopes. By the time he reached the cheap motel off I-75, the Serenity Oaks Facebook group had exploded. Someone posted a photo of his license plate. Someone else tagged the county sheriff. Jake ordered a pizza and opened his laptop. Title was clean. Taxes were paid for 50 years in advance by Uncle Elias, another middle finger from the grave. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Harlan, a silky voice said. Richard Covington, president of Covington Homes. We built Serenity Oaks. Perhaps we can meet tomorrow and discuss an arrangement that benefits everyone? Jake smiled in the dark. Sure, bring your checkbook. At 5:47 a.m., the first diesel growl rolled across. Serenity Oaks like distant thunder. By 6:03, the sky was full of it. Jake stood on the hood of his Silverado at the edge of the woods. Coffee in one hand, binoculars in the other. 6 yellow bulldozers, 3 excavators, and 2 survey crews in orange vests, fanned out along the fresh orange ribbon that marked the new property line, exactly 6 inches from the first row of backyards. In the nearest house, curtains snapped open. A man in silk pajama bottoms stumbled onto his patio screaming about noise ordinances. Children appeared in windows, wide-eyed. Someone's Ring camera started live streaming to the neighborhood, app titled Invasion. Karen Whitmore arrived in a white Escalade doing 40 down the cart path, bathrobe flapping like a battle flag. She leapt out barefoot and marched straight to the lead foreman. You are on private property, she shrieked. Shut these machines down right now. The foreman, a sun-leathered man named Tito, spat tobacco juice and handed her a survey plat. Ma'am, this ribbon is the line. Everything east of it belongs to Mr. Harlan. You're welcome to stand. West of it all day. Jake hopped down and walked over, boots crunching on fresh gravel. Morning, Karen. Sleep well? You sociopath, she hissed. We have children here. You can't just... Actually, I can. He gestured at the dozers already chewing through pines. Phase 5 starts today. 500 new homes, denser than yours. Townhomes, apartments, maybe a nice affordable housing block right against your fence line. Views of vinyl siding instead of trees. Progress, right? Richard Covington rolled up next in a black Range Rover. Hair perfect despite the hour. He stepped out smiling like a shark in Italian loafers. Jake, my friend, he called, arms wide. Let's not be hasty. My office, 9 o'clock. I'm prepared to make you a very generous offer for the undeveloped acreage. Jake checked his watch. 9 o'clock, I'll be too busy. How about right now? Cash offer, wire today, or the dozers keep eating. Covington's smile thinned. You're emotional. This is a negotiation, not extortion. Wrong again, Jake said. Extortion is when I threaten something I'm not allowed to do. I'm allowed to bulldoze every tree I own. The only question is whether you pay me to stop. A dozer blade crashed through a pine 20 feet away. Needles rained like green snow. Covington's eye twitched. Name your price. Jake grinned. We'll start at $200 million and work up. By 7:00 p.m., the clubhouse ballroom was packed, shoulder to shoulder with 300 furious homeowners clutching. Starbucks and legal pads. Someone had strung a banner across the stage. Protect our paradise. A local news van idled outside. The story had gone viral. Jake walked in wearing the same muddy boots from dawn, carrying a cardboard tube and a styrofoam cup of gas station coffee. The room went deathly quiet, then erupted. Someone threw a pool noodle that bounced off his shoulder. Karen Whitmore banged a gavel she'd apparently bought on Amazon that afternoon. This emergency meeting is called to order. Mr. Harlan has agreed to speak, then answer questions under the rules. Jake stepped to the podium, unrolled the plat, and taped it to the easel. Red X's now marked every lot in Serenity Oaks. Evening, he began. Quick recap, I own the ground. Your ground leases died. I can do whatever I want with my 999 acres. Questions? A doctor in the front row shot up. You're holding our homes hostage. Hostage implies you can't leave, Jake said. You can sell me your house any time. I'll pay fair market for the improvements, then you move. Simple. A woman near the back started sobbing about her autistic sons. Routine and the sensory garden she'd planted. Jake softened for half a second, then remembered the $14,000 HOA fine she'd once slapped on his uncle for an unapproved mailbox. He kept his face neutral. Covington stood smooth as ever. Ladies and gentlemen, Covington Homes offers a solution. We will purchase Mr. Harlan's undeveloped acreage for $180 million, preserving your views and property values. We simply need the HOA to approve a one-time special. Assessment of $42,000 per household. The room detonated. $42,000? We're already underwater. Screw you, Richard. Karen tried to regain control. All in favor of... Jake raised a hand. Before you vote, you should know. Covington's been quietly buying your mortgages through a shell company. If you default on that assessment, he forecloses. I buy the houses at auction for pennies, and he still gets the land cheap. Cute shell game. Covington went scarlet. The news camera swung toward him like a sniper rifle. Jake leaned into the mic. Or you can pay me directly. I'll renew every ground lease for 99 years at $1 a year. Plus give the HOA a permanent conservation easement on the remaining forest. Total cost to you, $312 one time. I walk away rich enough. You keep your paradise. You could hear hearts stop. Karen's gavel slipped from her hand and clattered across the stage. The clubhouse lights felt hotter than the August sun. 300 faces stared at Jake like he was the devil offering salvation for pocket change. Karen Whitmore's mouth opened, closed, opened again. $1 per household? She finally croaked. $1 per year, 99 years. Renewable forever at the same rate, Jake repeated. Plus I deed the remaining 800 acres into a conservation trust. No phase fee, no apartments, no view of someone else's laundry line. Your property values stay fat and happy. I get $312 a year and a quiet conscience. Everybody wins. Covington lunged for the microphone. He's bluffing. He'll sell to a strip mall developer the minute we sign. Jake pulled a thick folder from the cardboard tube and tossed it onto the table. It landed with a heavy thud. Already drafted. Recorded tomorrow morning if the HOA votes yes tonight. Trust run by the Georgia Land Conservancy, not me. I can't touch it again even if I want to. A gray-haired man in the back. A retired judge everyone called Judge Roy stood slowly. Young man, why? You could bleed us for millions. Jake looked out at the sea of manicured fear. My uncle lived in a single wide on the edge of this land for 60 years. Y'all sent him violation letters because his grass was half an inch too tall. He died laughing. Knowing one day I'd get to choose, burn it all down or let it breathe. I'm choosing to let it breathe. Take the deal or don't. Dawn comes either way. Silence stretched so long the AC kicking on sounded like gunfire. Judge Roy raised his hand. I make a motion we accept Mr. Harlan's offer and pay the $312 tonight. Hands shot up like they were spring-loaded. Even Karen's. Covington stormed out. The news crew chased him into the parking lot. By 10 o'clock, a kid with a shoebox collected $312 in cash, checks, and Venmos. Jake signed the lease renewals on the hood of his dusty Silverado under the streetlights while neighbors watched in stunned quiet. At 5:47 a.m. the next morning, the Bulldozers never came. Instead, Jake stood alone at the tree line and scattered Uncle Elias's ashes into the wind. The pines smelled the same as they always had. He climbed back into the truck, richer by exactly $312 a year, and drove south. Serenity Oaks slept on, clueless that dawn had already broken and mercy had won.